Hi students, welcome back to the next video in model 3. In this video we are going to discuss about the concept called method overloading. Method overriding is one of the basic fundamental concept in object oriented system. Always there will be a confusion with method overriding and method overloading. So what are the differences in syntax wise, in concepts wise, the differences between the overriding with overloading and all will be discussing in this video. And moreover, with some example programming coding, how the overriding is done and what is the need of method overloading in order for the implementation of OOPS concepts. So these are all the topics we are going to discuss in this video. Let us go to the topic. Method overloading in Java means a subclass method overriding a superclass method. That means we are invoking the method of a superclass from the subclass object. And the superclass method which is going to be overridden should be non-static. For example, class B is my subclass and class A is a superclass means in overriding methods of both the subclass and superclasses, it should have the same signature. So these are all the points should be mentioned, should be noted in method overloading. First, before going to move on the examples of method overriding, first we will have a small quick review about what is meant by method overloading and method overriding. The very first definition is method overloading is used to increase the readability of a program. Right? It is used to increase the readability of the program, but the overriding is used to provide a specific implementation of the method that is already provided by its superclass. That means we can reuse of that method which is defined in superclass. No need to go for the separate definition of a method in subclass. Then method overloading is performed within a class, but it will not be performed within a class. It occurs between two classes. It occurs between one subclass with a superclass. Then another differences are in case of method overloading, parameters must be different, but here parameters must be same. That is, method overriding completely follows the same signature what is defined in the superclass. So what is the returning type of the name of the method, and what are the different arguments passed inside the method. So what is the complete signature of the method which is defined in superclass should be followed in a subclass. There should not be any changes in returning type or its arguments list or the values. But in overloading, it is acceptable. It can be different parameters. Then method overloading is the example of compile time polymorphism, where overriding is the example of runtime polymorphism. And in Java, method overloading cannot be performed by changing its returning type of the method only, but return type must be same or covariant in method and overriding. So returning type, the complete signature is followed in method overriding. This is a differences between the method loading and riding. We will have one example with how method overriding is done with a simple one. Class A is my superclass and it has the constructor of having int A, int B as a parameters, and it has one add function, add method. Void add is the method. This method is the purpose of this method is to display the sum of A and B is equal to one value. Then this class is extended by the B class. So now B class is a subclass and A class is a superclass. Now B class is also having one constructor. It is invoked by super of AB. That means it is invoked by the superclass. Then move on to its definition, void add. It calls the super.add. That means super.add is nothing but the add method which is defined in the superclass. So at that time what will happen? Sum of A plus B will be printed. Then additionally system.out println value as sum of A comma B comma C is also included, because C here in this class B one more additional integer is also added, no? So that will be printed as a resultant variable of J. Now we want to check how this method overriding is done. So we have one method overriding class which has the main concepts, and B of B is nothing but the subclass object. Using the subclass object, we are invoking the add method. So definitely it will go and execute the add method of defined in subclass. At that time, super of add is called. So what will happen in the super of add, system.out.println of A and B is printed. So the first output will be sum of A and B is equal to 30. Then next immediate output will be in addition to the C variable. So sum of A, B, and C is printed. So this is what the one best example of this one. I will come up with one more example here. The same class A is there. It has the two member data, that is I and J. It has its constructor where A and B values are assigned to its member data I and J respectively, and so show is my method. In that I and J values are displayed. Then similarly in the same class B is extended by the class A. Here also super of AB constructor, that constructor is called. Now if you want to check at that time, the subclass object is created with the name of subob. At that time show is called. Show what will go means it will go and execute the definition of the show where the value of K is printed. Right? So this is called as method overriding. Then one more example is given here. Similarly, the same concept is extended in some other way. Class A is my first superclass. It has the show method of I and J. There is no changes in this class A. Class B, in class B, what we are doing? We are invoking the super of A and B constructor. Then K is assigned to C. Then in the void show, it is called as overloaded show. It is not overridden. It is a overloaded show. Show method is invoked. In that one message is passed. So according to the message, along with the message, that K value is printed. Then when we want to check the method overriding, we will call the subclass object of new B1 of 1, 2, 3. So at that time, what will happen? A is assigned to 1, B is assigned to 2, and C is assigned to 3. So super of AB will be called. At the time, A and B values respectively stored on I and J. So that value will be printed here. Then sub object of show, at that time the message, what the message we are giving us, this is K. So this is K will be printed here, and then when show of message will be called, at that time message with the K value will be printed. So this is what method overriding. Then dynamic method dispatch is the another one concept. Here method overriding forms the basis of one of the Java's most powerful concepts, dynamic method dispatch. So the dynamic method dispatch is the mechanism by which a call to an overridden method is resolved at runtime rather than the compile time. So dynamic method dispatch is important because this is how Java implements the runtime polymorphism. An important principle to be noted down here is a superclass reference variable can refer to a subclass object. Here is the answer. When an overridden method is called through a superclass reference, a Java determines which version of the method to execute based on the type of object being referred to at the time of call refers. So this determination is made at runtime. Okay. So in other words, it is the type of object being referred to the reference variable. Therefore, the superclass contains a method that is overridden by a subclass. Then the different types of objects are referred to through the superclass references. Dynamic method dispatch is given with one example program here. Here class A is the first superclass. Void call me is the one of the method which is having inside A. Call me method is the one of the message, and it is extended by the class B. Again, call me method is defined. It is defined in the different messages. inside B is called method. Now one more class which also extends the one more class is also is there, which is called as C, which extends the class A. As of now, A is a superclass for the class B and also C. Then inside the C class definition also, again one more call me function is invoked with the message of inside C's call me method. Now we want to check these inheritance with the help of one class, dispatch class. When inside the main, the respective method objects of the class A, B and C is called, right? So after that, A is assigned to a one reference type of object R. Then A is assigned to R dot call me. When it is called, inside A function call me method will be printed. Then again B is assigned to R dot call me. When it is called, it will calls the B's version of the call me method. And similarly, C is assigned to R. After that, R dot call me will invoke the C's version of the call me method. So the above program creates one superclass called A and two subclasses called B and C. These subclasses B and C override the call me method. So this is a best example of how method overriding is done. Then what is the need of method overriding, ma'am? Because overriding methods allows to support the runtime polymorphism. So it reduces the rewritten, recoding of the concepts. So that is what it is called as runtime polymorphism, and it is essential in object-oriented programming for only one reason, that is it allows a general class to specify the methods that will be common to all of its derivatives. Okay, I will tell you one example here. Here car is my one superclass, and whatever the car companies make or design, color, whatever it is, the general properties are general behavior of a car is to speed of the car in south zone of the India is limited to some range. So we cannot go beyond that range. So that speed of a car, whatever the car, either it may be a BMW or it may be a Audi car, it may be or like any kind, different kinds of car, but the speed of the car is limited to some range, some kilometers per hour. So that general properties and general method can be overridden to its subclasses of the class car. So this is called as the basic intention of why overridden is used. How overridden is applied here means, again one more example is given. Class figure double dim1 double dim2, that is dimension 1 and dimension 2 is defined with the double characters. Then it calls the constructor. The value of A and B is assigned to its corresponding dimension. Then double area is one method which is called area of figure is undefined. Then this class extends the extended by the rectangle class. So at that time the super of AB is called. So what will happen? The value of first dimension and second dimension will be assigned respectively. When the method of area is overridden, at that time system.out.println inside the area of rectangle, it will return the dimension 1 into dimension 2. Similarly, it is done for triangle. Then when we want to check these two classes with the find areas main class, figure F is the superclass. For that, one object F is created with a value of 10, 10. Then rectangle R is also created with a value of some 9, 5. Triangle is also invoked with the value of 10, 8. Then now see the output inside the area of rectangle. Area is 45 is calculated. Inside the area of triangle, area is 40 is calculated. Inside the figure, it is undefined. At that time, area will be 0. So these are all the best examples of how overridden is done in the Java programming concepts. I hope so this video will be useful for you. I will catch you in the next video about next topic. Thank you.